If you click on the Play Social tab in the BTD6 main menu and click on View Browser, you'll see that you can edit a challenge, an odyssey, or a map. By far the most popular of these is the challenge editor, where players can create challenges that you have to play in order to beat it. These challenges can have a wide variety. Some are really cool, some are unique, some are dumb, some are really dumb. Some can be on round 76, some can be on round 100, and some can have modifiers. Now, modifiers in BTD6 are basically your version of the slash game rule command in Minecraft. So basically, you can change any attribute about the balloons that you want. So, for example, you can make the balloons go faster, you can make Moabs go faster, or Moab health increase. You can reduce ability cooldowns, or you can increase regrow rate. And one day I was thinking to myself, what if I had all of these on, and I tried to play a balloons game? And that's how this video came to be. I'm going to get to round 140 minimum with max modifiers. That is my plan. I didn't realize it would be this hard. As you can see, this is the challenge itself. I'm going to play on this for the next who knows how many hours. As you can see, all the modifiers are at maximum. I have everything allowed, but I am going to show you just one thing. I'm going to pause right here. Did you see the life count? Yeah, it's 650. Turns out my dumb brain switched around the life count and the cash to start. I didn't realize this until round like 85, but by then I would have made more lives than 650. And plus, I also, for some reason, set the maximum to 650, so now the maximum amount of lives I can have is 650 at any given time. But by the time I do lose lives to drop down to 450, which would be the amount of lives that I start off with on easy mode, then I would have already gotten to above 650 lives. As you can see from my hero choice, I'm picking Azili over Adora, because while Adora is one of the best late game heroes, she is simply not good enough. The strategy is too expensive, and by the time I do actually get to around 100, the bat is going to have 500,000 health, and I don't think Adora and a few low-level Sun Temples are actually going to do 500,000 damage. Meanwhile, Azili is going to easily pop that with her ability by the time it reaches the end of the track. I'm not going to be able to afford the Nave Arc because with this ridiculous balloon speed, I would simply not have enough money. My farming is going to have to be delayed quite a bit so that I can make sure I would survive. Most people think the big problem with this challenge is going to be the incredibly high Moab speed and Moab HP, but it's not actually going to be that big of a deal because up until around 100, I have several insta-kill towers that can easily deal with ZOMGs, DDTs, plus I have access to all the stores in the game, so that's Cripple Moab, Super Glue, Absolute Zero, Icicle Impale. However, the thing that's going to kill me in this run is the ability cooldowns. They're 5 times longer than usual, so that means that I'm going to have to, on round 119, I'm going to have to out DPS the last bad, because if I don't have Azili's ability up and the Nave Arc's ability up, then that third bat is just going to walk right in and destroy my defense. Now with only 650 lives, I don't think I have enough to tank a bat. Just a hunch, but I'm not sure that 650 is enough. My defense in the early game is going to be pretty simple. 2 Dart Monkeys to do a bunch of the damage to the heavier balloons, and then a Spike Factory at the back. This Spike Factory is going to absolutely carry the early game, because unlike most projectiles which would just miss, the spikes just lay there on the track, waiting for the balloons to run over them. It's just an inevitable death. The only options that the balloons have is to either retreat and go back to the beginning of the track, which they would never do, or go to die on basically a bed of Legos. That should actually be a Spike skin. I really want to see that. Legos as spikes. That will be hilarious. Now I know I'm going to get comments on this. Brazio, why didn't you farm as hard as you did last week? Basically, your entire video was about how to farm really well in BTD6, and here you are getting a bank on round 20, basically, because you're just that bad. And my answer to that is, you see how fast these balloons are going? No heli stall is going to be able to defeat these levels of balloons, alright? The farming is just going to work. I'm going to die before I actually get anywhere, so I'm going to go with the most optimal farming method that I know of, that doesn't require ridiculous amounts of time to take, which is banks. Banks are pretty good, and I hate IMF farms. By the time we're at round 30, we're looking pretty good. We have a boat in the middle of the map to do lead damage and defeat the leads. We also have a glue at the beginning to slow down the balloons and make it easier for me to kill them because of the high balloon speed. I also get down a druid here with Heart of Oak so that I can deal with the regrow balloons that will be coming up later on. I upgrade this to a druid of the jungle after I collect the money from the bank, and then I sell the bank to get down the tower that's going to carry this run, the marketplace. The marketplace is going to be incredibly useful in this run because not only do I have to do nothing with them to farm, I just throw them down and then they put money into my bank account. They also generate lives at the end of each round. If you have a certain monkey knowledge point, then the marketplace third tier is going to give you 1 life at the end of each round. The central market, which is the 4th tier, is going to give you 3, and then the monkey wall street, which is the 5th tier, will give you 10 lives at the end of every round. I'm also going to upgrade the boat into a 240 so that I can hook in the Moab, because this Moab has 4000 HP, and I don't think 2 spike factories at the end of the track are going to do 4000 HP. Another thing that I have to consider is the ability cooldowns, because if you didn't remember, I need to get a 240 boat to hook in the Moab, because it has so much HP. But the thing is, that ability is going to not start off cooldown, so it's going to take time for me to be able to use it. If I don't get the boat early enough, then I won't be able to have the ability up in time, which will be very, very bad. However, I do indeed get the ability up in time. I tried to see if I could even just damage the Moab shell, and turns out I couldn't, so I did have to use the ability mid-round. This is how I know this challenge is going to be super tough. If I require an insta-kill ability to pop the round 40 Moab, imagine how hard the round 100 bad's gonna be. From round 40 to 50, I decide to up my farming game in preparation for the round 50 Moabs, because no Moab class balloons will spawn between round 40 and round 50. This is very useful, so I decide to increase the amount of farms I get and increase the amount of money I have. And I also put down the most important tower right now in my setup, the 420 Sniper. This can stall several Moabs at once, and no matter how much or how fast the Moabs are, they will never be able to escape because it stalls them for infinity. It's 100% uptime and it's going to be very useful for me in the later runs, or in the later rounds. This is kind of the thing I use until I get my first Paragon, which will be the boat, or until the round 100 bad, where I have to actually insta-kill it with the Zealy. See, the thing is, if I stall the Moabs, it doesn't matter how much HP they have, because I can just pop them over a bunch of time. This took hours. Seriously. What you were seeing on screen is 20 times speed. So 1 second for you would have been 20 for me. This wasn't just the 50s either. This is round 52 to 82. You wanna know how long that took me? 53 minutes. 53 minutes! I could have beaten 3.5 chimps games in that time. I could have been doing something productive, like getting a girlfriend, or working, or doing schoolwork. No, I'm sitting on my laptop with ridiculous modifications to my game, doing pretty much nothing, just sitting around. I was watching Laserbeam, I think, during this. And right now is 100 times speed. So look how long the rounds are taking. Like 1 to 2 seconds per round. But it's 100 times longer. I am getting a bunch of stalling and money making towers up though. I'm starting to get more central markets. I even have a super glue and an icicle impale, meaning these balloons are not moving an inch. If there is one thing that comes out of this challenge that is good, then it is the fact that there are a lot of pops to share around. For example, any insta-kill towers like the bottom path engineer or the middle path boat will get their pops for their paragons insanely quickly. For example, one ZOMG would give like, I think, 400,000 pops. And that's a damaged ZOMG. So these pops are going to be incredibly high, meaning we can get very high degree paragons, which we are going to need to defeat the later rounds. So like round 101, 102, 103, all the way to round 140. By the time round 93 ends, we have a pretty good farming setup going. Pretty much the entire map is filled with central markets and a few BRFs in the corner. I've put down some more stalling towers, some more damage towers, and Azili, and I'm hoping that she gets to level 100 or level 20 by the time round 100 comes around. But the thing that I am most useful for, or thankful for, is the Absolute Zero, which frees the DDTs. DDTs normally are pretty scary, but in this challenge they are horrifying. Okay, they zip past the entire map of logs, which is, by the way, the second longest map in the entire game, in like 5 seconds. As well as this, they're walking past your defenses with 9,500 HP. You shouldn't even been seeing DDTs that strong until round 300. So right now we're fighting balloons that should be coming about in about 200 rounds, meaning we're 200 rounds behind in defense. By the time round 99 ends, which is, by the way, half an hour later, so half an hour for 5 rounds, we have enough to purchase the Navarch of the Seas. Thank God our ability was up on time. Azili did not hit level 20 by the time round 100 came around, so we had to improvise and get a degree 65 bow paragon. I would have liked to get 80, but if I wanted that I would have had to sell all my farms, and that would have been a very bad idea. Alternatively, I could have gotten down level 20 Azili, but that seemed boring. Interestingly enough though, we do manage to pop the bad without using the ability. The ability is a failsafe. The degree 65 Navarch can do enough damage to the bad to pop it. This is excellent news. This means that this Navarch is going to absolutely carry us through the next 20 rounds. And by the time we get to round 119, we'll have Azili up, and then there's no more bads until round 140, where our abilities will be up again. All we have to do is stall. Round 140 would be easy peasy as soon as you get down to Paragon, because once you get down to Paragon in pretty much any challenge, it is over. You have won. So I decided to get down a few more Paragons, specifically the Engineer, the Boomerang, and the Ninja Paragon. The first three, well, the Boat, Ninja, and NG Paragons are going to be very useful, since they all have percentage dealing abilities, or attacks, or in the case of the Engineer Paragon, they can stall for a long time. However, the Boomerang Paragon is less useful. So I decided to get it down simply because I had the money to, and by the time I did, the bads were getting pretty far, and I needed the extra damage, and I decided not to invest in a couple strong T5s, because Paragons always beat T5s, except for the Dark Paragon. Hate that guy. I did manage to beat round 119 with a combination of the Navarch of the Seas and Azili's ability. All of them are very useful. Now I'm getting down a few more Paragons, and I can't really remember what happened between this point and round 140, but what I do remember is that I was rising up and back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Wait, I can't use this song because then I'll get copyrighted. Well, that was going to be a really good segue into the part of the video where I just leave and then my voice starts fading out and then background music starts playing until the round that I eventually die on. part of the video where I slowly show the round of me dying and my voice starts fading back in, and then I say, oh great heavens, I died in round 151. What a shame. Anyway, I didn't actually think that I would die this early. Round 151, it gave me 4 bad balloons. Like, it threw me in for a loop. I could deal with at most 3 bad balloons, but the Legend of the Knight's ability was on a 15-minute cooldown, and that is not a very good thing to be on a 15-minute cooldown. But round 151 does beat my goal of round 140, which is pretty cool. Anyway, if you want to see me do this challenge again with unlimited money next time, then just ask so in the comments. Alternatively, if you want to see me do this challenge but with minimum modifiers but only 1 tower allowed with pops, then also ask me in the comments. Anyway, that is the end of this video, and now I'm going to go to sleep. I haven't slept in 5 days, help.